This seat feels super short. Can you guys see me? Hold on. All right, well, I like it. I feel smaller. Really proud of our guys. I thought they came out like I would hope they would. They were so intentional to start the game. They seemed very, very, we always talk about with our team about kind of operating their frontal cortex and not their limbic system. And sometimes that's a really important balance, and these guys certainly did that well. They had exactly the right kind of makeup to start the game, and I'm proud of them. So great game. Terrific Wright State team. Clint is one of the great young up-and-coming coaches in college basketball. It's going to be really fun to watch his trajectory, and they're going to be a good team. Yep.
Mark, you talked about Otega's improved decision-making a couple weeks ago. What was the process there? Is that something you challenged him to do? Is that something you saw in him that he could do differently at the beginning?
Yeah, yes. He's, it's interesting. As a player, there's always this process about limiting your game just a little bit, just slightly, so that your game can expand massively. And that process takes a ton of trust. Coach Fox has done an unbelievable job mentoring Otega. He spends a lot of time with Otega, and Otega's done an unbelievable job trusting and being receptive. And so he's just simplified his game just a little bit in just a couple very specific areas, and he's become a brilliant decision maker. And tonight he was incredible defensively. Clearly he shot the ball really well. He was great downhill. He was pretty good in every single facet of the game, but he was really electric and extraordinary on the defensive end against a terrific, with a really tough matchup most of the night.
Mark, you talked a lot about earning your shots on some earlier. Is a game where you have 30 assists on 39 baskets, is that a pretty indicator you've done it about as well as you can or not?
Yeah, I like it. There's still some times where we got a little enamored with we just got a little over anxious with some home run stuff. It's always a balance. You're always living in the tension of letting your work on the game work for you back. I know I'm talking 30,000 foot level here, but it's very much a feel. And I thought for the most part tonight our guys were pretty intentional. Defensively, our defense turned into a bunch of offense tonight, and then guys had plays where they were really focused on making a play for their teammate, which was special, and also really good decision making once they got downhill. And still, there's room for us to grow. We can be more consistent with being really, really forceful in this game, but also, letting the ball find the open man. There are probably 10, 15 possessions where we could be much better in that category. So it's both. It was both. But the numbers are good. Listen, if you give me a 37 game, I'm pretty excited about that for sure, right? If we do that all year long, that'd probably be the all-time record in the history of the world. I would like to do that.
Mark, this was the game that a lot of people have been waiting for since you were introduced back in April. For you to balance finally getting that first win as Kentucky head coach with also maybe getting it out of the way and getting the season going, what was that like?
They asked me this on TV post game, and I'm just going to give you bad answers because we're just lost in the game. At some point, Leanne and I are going to find some quiet moment to sit back and drink a soda sometime in the next month or two, or 9 months or sometime, and we're just gonna I just look forward to that moment because we'll really take it in then, and it's so deeply special to me. But right now, we got work to do, and so we're pretty locked in on the game.
Mark back here, obviously getting a stop is going to jumpstart your offense way more than obviously them scoring a basketball. For you guys to get that many steals and blocks, and then that just jump-started. And then, Kerr's going, or, getting those steals, Lamont's all over the place. How big is that just to get everything going for you guys?
Yeah, it's really important, and you're right. Both those things are really important. Ortega came up with some really timely stops and steals. Lamont, of course, is just a menace out there all the time. He's always just such a threat. It's almost like I've been the opposing coach going against Lamont Butler, and every time you bounce the ball as a coach, you're kind of holding your breath, like, he didn't take the ball that time. That's a win, right? And so those two guys can be devastating. I thought especially Ortega had a really special night defensively, but that disruptive part of the game is great. I think our rim. I think we haven't even begun to touch where we can be as a rim protecting team. I think we have so much more in the tank there that'll add to our defense. I thought our guys, we tried to throw some simple changing defenses, take some punches out there, and I thought our guys responded pretty well. We got to clean up our deuce a little bit. We're kind of giving up that middle catch too easily. So there's some things like that we can get better at. But certainly our defense is a mainstay. We get energy out of our defense, and that's really important for a team that has offensive minded us, for us to have a defensive identity where we feel real pride and energy. That's going to be important for us all season long.
Mark, we talk about Amari Williams and his defense, but how important is it when he gets that rebound, starts heading up the floor to keep the pace going, moving the ball, and has a passing ability just to keep that pace that you like going fast going?
Tell me the truth. You all get excited when he's racing down the floor with the ball in his hands, doesn't he? That's like 400 pounds of solid steel just racing down the floor at an amazing clip, and really none of us know what's going to happen. It's fantastic. And he loves it, He made the play where he kind of hit the trail and raced down the floor, giving Kerr the eye sign just to kind of run it back at him. And Amari's a really special player. I thought he was terrific. He missed last game, only played a couple minutes last game with a little patella injury, and so he missed a couple days of practice, and just really the first time gave us some live stuff yesterday, and I thought he responded great. I thought he was terrific tonight. He got a little gassed in the game, but I thought he was really good, and he's really important to what we do. And when you have bigs that can grab a rebound or block a shot and the lead out in the break, it's pretty spectacular. It makes you really dangerous defensively because you end up with every mismatch in transitions you could possibly want. And he's really talented, and we're going to need him to do that more and more all season long. It's a real great skill set.
Mark, back here. It's funny that's who you were just asked about, because I was going to ask about Amari as well, and I was going to just specifically ask, we do hear so much about his physicality and the way he passes the ball, but is his most underrated skill the way he can dribble? The one offensive rebound you guys got in the first half, he got it, he kept it, and then finished on his own at the rim.
Yeah. Well, if you asked him, he would say he's got incredible handles. And what he does is he has really good handles. He's got really good vision. He's got great athleticism. And he plays to the end of the play. And so, I'm telling you, there's just not a lot of guys his size with his skill set. There's just not. In fact, I don't know if there's any that are exactly his size and his skill set. And I'm grateful that we have him. He's also, hopefully all you guys will get some time to sit down with him. He's one of the best human beings in the world. He's representing Nottingham, England in a extraordinary way as a player, and even more as a person. He's really special.
Mark, there were always legendary stories about your conditioning sessions under Coach P, and who knows how many of those are true or exaggerated. But what was the challenge getting these guys?
They're true. And it would be impossible to exaggerate them, actually. Keep going.
Was there a challenge in getting these guys, prepared this summer and into the fall to go as hard as you want to go?
Yeah, it's really interesting for us. So we were playing with a lot of stuff. One, we're always playing with health. This is the healthiest I've had a team at this point in the season. Actually, this is the healthiest of any team I've had in my, decade-long head coaching, give or take a year or two. And we've been really meticulous. Coach P would just be, I think he came to our practice and I don't think he'd ever come back. He's just like, you're so soft. But we're being meticulous. We are measuring everything through Catapult. We're measuring our player load and their active load and their running load and their dynamic load, and we're trying to map it out and plan it out. Randy Towner was with the Bucks for the last 2 years, and Brandon Wells is the best trainer that I've ever been around, and those two guys is lead out on our performance team, and so we're being incredibly meticulous, actually, with how we're trying to grow our guys' conditioning. And so it's very different than what I experienced. And we still have a long way to go to get in shape to play the way we want to play. Fortunately, we're going to lean on our depth right now until our conditioning really catches up. But we're trying to do that one step at a time so we don't have, too acute uphill trajectory in terms of our conditioning growth. It's really important. We're really, these numbers, I get a headache every morning when Randy and Brandon come in and present to me every morning. It's a lot of numbers.
Mark, along those lines, do you envision playing 10 guys this much throughout the season, or do you narrow it down? And how difficult, if you do narrow it down, how difficult a decision is that going to be?
Yeah, I would, we'll be really blessed if we can keep those 10 guys healthy. And listen, there's real space in here. Travis Perry is a really good basketball player, and Trent Noah is a really, really good basketball player. Both those guys can win also. We have 12, and Walker Horn is going to be mad that I left him off the list. So Walker Horn is also a really good Walker. Shout out to Walker. And so if we can stay healthy, I would like to just keep coming in waves as much as we can. There's times when the game's not going to allow that, but I would really like to keep coming in waves. I think it's hard. I think it's really challenging with opponents, and we have, it's interesting. Our guys, they all fit the way we play, but we really have 12 guys with very unique skill sets. And so every time someone new rolls onto the court, it's kind of like, ooh, we got a new little toolkit that we can work with. As a coach, it's such a blessing. It allows us to be really creative. And so the game normally makes you constrict to 8 or 9, sometimes 7 or 8. But I'd like to live in this 10 space as long as the game will let us.
Mark, I know it's early, but you don't appear to be someone who screams at the referees constantly, riding them about this or that call. What's your philosophy on that, and what are those conversations like that you do have with officials?
I'm thinking right now. So I started, maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, started going to the referee symposium, the West Coast referees. And so it was like 2 days, and they sit in a room and they watch some of the most difficult clips that they faced from the last season, kind of preparing. It's their training session. And you sit there and you watch a block charge call, for example, the low-hanging fruit example, and they'll watch it slow motion, watch it 5 times, watch it 10 times, and then they'll take a poll on whether it's a block or a charge, and invariably, 150 people would raise their hand and say it was a block, and 149 people, referees, these are the best referees in the world, call and say it's a charge, right? And so for me, I'm gonna, and sometimes I lose my mind. I got a couple T's last year, but for me, I want our players to feel the same way that I do. Is that the referees actually have no power over whether we win or lose the game, and the calls are really hard. But if I can be disciplined and keep my focus on the game, I think it helps our players be disciplined and help their focus on the game, come what may, from refs. And what we've done is we had a really serious meeting with all the players and the whole staff, and we just agreed that we would let Leanne handle the refs, and we're just going to work on the game.
Kind of going back to the steals, you guys had 36 points off fast breaks tonight, 18 came off turnovers. How reassuring is it even this early in the year to see your team not only get those takeaways, but be able to throw it in transition and finish the job?
And we left some on the table too. I know Lamont had a couple he wanted to take back, but defense creating offense is really important for us, and especially against listen. Wright State is a terrific offensive team. Like I said, the numbers bear it out. They're really talented offensively. They've added a couple pieces that are good, and they're a talented offensive team. And for us to kind of have a consistent, concerted effort for most of the game, and to be able to be disruptive is going to be really important to us. And the fact that we have some guys that we can just put out there and be like, hey, you just guard your guy and we'll scheme out the other 4 offensive players on the floor, or scheme out the other 3 guys. It's such a luxury as a coach when you can just be like, Lamont, you just go handle that. Wright State has a lot of complicated ball screen actions, high ball screens. They'll do a butt ball screen and then rifle back. They'll force you to be in a pick and pop situation, which is really tough for the way we guard. They'll reject a lot and get downhill. They'll come off zoom action and then reset in a high ball screen really quick, or a flat screen or a butt screen. So they give a lot of different things. And when you could just be like, hey, Lamont, you just handle all these ball screens and let me figure out the rest of the game, it's pretty great. It's a real gift. And so that's going to be important to us going forward, because I'm not that smart a coach.
Could you just talk about the special moment playing Travis Perry and Trent Noah tonight, with them being both from Kentucky?
Yep. Listen, Travis Perry and Trent Noah are from Kentucky. They're great basketball players. That's probably the headline. They're terrific basketball players. They're freshmen playing at the University of Kentucky, making big-time plays. I am so impressed with these 2 young men. I'm telling you guys, the time is not going to be far away. It could be in a week or a day or months or a year when these guys are going to be headliner guys on this team. They are terrific basketball players, and they're like sieves, man. They're picking up stuff and learning stuff, and they're tough as nails. I suspect that neither one of those guys will ever miss a single rep ever in their entire career at the University of Kentucky. We're blessed to have those 2 kids. They're really special, and they're going to represent Kentucky great. We're really blessed to have them.
I don't know if it hit you that it was a 41-point victory.
Yeah, so
Kind of crazy.
I'm telling you, these guys, man, our guys, I'm pretty sure they cooked that up, but we talked about that after the game. 41 really special to me, and so that is really sweet. It's Kentucky magic. Nothing like it. Thanks, guys.